and it provides for the concept of one registration for all establishments having 10 or I think if you go through the 13 legislations which are getting subsumed into the Occupational Safety Code. I think Factories Act is there, Contract Labor Act is there, ISMW Act is there, VOCW. You have to do registration in all these legislations separately. Now it is sufficient if you do only one registration. So I think roughly out of the 13 legislations, you have to do 6 registrations separately. Now it is sufficient if you do one registration. So it is made common. So it is simplified again. I would say it is some sort of advantage maybe in the procedure for the employers. Again, next to 2 points, it talks about the National Occupational Safety and Health Advisory Board and State Occupational Safety and Health Advisory Board. It is more to give recommendations to the central government as well as the state governments to advise on the matters related to safety, health and working conditions. It is more for the development purpose. Continuous monitoring will be there for the development growth. Then we are now on slide number 21. It provides for the constitution of safety committee. Of course, the concept of safety committee is already there. Again, some sort of emphasis is laid. Maybe the quantum, the minimum number of workers required for constituting the committee may vary now, right? If you take factory, I think if we have 250 or more workers, then the occupier is expected to have constitute a safety committee. Maybe that may come down to 100 once this is through, right? That is the idea. Then the next point is it paves way to allow the women employees to work at night, that is beyond 7 p.m. and before 6 a.m. subject to the conditions relating to safety, holiday, working hours and their consent. I think this is another important point. Women can be engaged once this code comes through during the night time, right? If you specifically, if you are working in a factory, you must be aware that as per section 66(1)(b), there is a restriction to engage women workers after 7 p.m. Right? Of course, with permission, you can engage them till 10 p.m., but not beyond that. That is the current situation. But the position is different only in case of Tamil Nadu, because I think Madras High Court has given a judgment in R. Vasanta's case, holding that particular section as unconstitutional. So in Tamil Nadu alone, currently, you can engage women workers during night time in factories, but it is not possible in other states. So I think this code addresses that issue. It allows the occupiers to engage women workers during night time. Of course, they have to get the consent of the individual women workers before doing so. And it makes a provision for common license for factory. Like we said, for the registration, I think you have to get a license for factory and license under the Contract Labor Act and license under BD and cigar establishment separately. Now there is a provision which clubs all the three. So it is sufficient if you get one single common license, and the validity period is also for 5 years. So it is not necessary that you have to renew it on year-on-year basis. It will be valid for 5 years. So again, this would again procedurally it is advantageous, less cumbersome for the employers, just like registration, common. And of course, if you want to get separate license, that is also possible, right? That is also possible. You can do that. And it enables the next, I think we are in slide number 22. It enables the courts to give a portion of monetary penalties. I think this is one, again, huge significant development. In case of any penalty, I think this 50% of the penalty could be given to the victim or the legal hands of the victim in case of death by the court. The courts will be empowered to do so. That is again more from social front. This is done, and it makes a provision for adjudging the penalties imposed under the court. So these are all again instead of going through the entire judicial process, the powers will be given to some officer who will be appointed for the specific purpose, so that the penalties can be paid there itself and go. I think the employers can go off.